Well, good morning again, and welcome to this week's Thought of the Week, continuing our inspirational people theme and people who've done amazing things and what's inspired them and what inspires us. But this week, we've had a special request for the game, Would You Rather. I'm not going to say which school it was, but there has been a school that has requested the Would You Rather. So we're going to play Would You Rather Sports Edition. Are you ready, Hayley?
Yes.
Would you rather go to the Olympics or go to the Football World Cup?
Olympics. There's no comparison.
Yeah, no, I would want to go to the Olympics as well. Would you rather win as a team or win on your own?
I don't think I've ever won as a team, but I have won on my own. So I think I'd rather win as a team because I never have.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know. I think I would possibly like to win as a team as well. I'm not totally sure. Would you rather be a marathon runner or a sprinter? So we've got Mo Farah here. He represents Great Britain and is now a marathon runner, having been long distance before. And Usain Bolt, who is the fastest world record holder for the 100 meters. So marathon or sprint?
Sprint every time. I don't have the patience for marathon.
I asked my husband that and he went, yeah, sprint's over in like 15 seconds. A marathon takes hours, which I thought was quite a fair point. I think I would probably prefer a sprint as well. Would you rather watch sports events from home or see it live?
It's got to be live. I don't know if you've ever been to a football match, but it is such an amazing atmosphere. You don't get that when you're at home.
Would you rather be the superstar of a poor team or an average player in a good team? MVP stands for most valuable player.
An average player in a good team. I would rather do that because if you're the superstar of a poor team, then that's too much pressure.
That is a fair point. Would you rather be good at one sport, like Sir Steve Redgrave? He won 5 gold medals for the same event at 5 consecutive Olympics, or be good at lots of different sports, like Jessica Ennis-Hill, who is a gold medalist at the Olympics for the heptathlon, which means she's good at 7 different sports.
I think I'd like to be exceptional at one sport, but be able to try others. Yeah, I think when you try others, there's no expectations. Whereas if you're good at lots of different sports, then you're expected to be good at every sport.
Would you be the favourite to win or the underdog?
Oh, the underdog every time. I like the element of surprise.
You can't beat a good underdog story where somebody surprising wins, can you? Definitely not. Well, today our inspirational person is a man called Eric Liddell, who did represent Great Britain in the Olympics. It was the 1924 Paris Olympics. And a lot of these would you rathers fall on him. He was nicknamed the Flying Scotsman because he was super fast. He was the firm favourite to win the gold medal in the 100 metres. And when he was on the boat going over to Paris from London, he was on the boat and he found out the programme of when all the events were going to take place. But Eric Liddell believed very strongly that Sunday is the day of rest. It's one of the 10 commandments. It was something that was really important to him. And he never, ever raced on a Sunday because that was the day that he rested, went to church and worshipped God. So he was on the boat going across to France to go and take part and win the gold medal in the Paris Olympics. And he was looking through the programme, and the heats fell on a Sunday. He had a choice to make. So his would you rather on that boat across would be, would you rather race on a Sunday, even though it's against your principles, and have a chance at the gold medal? Or would you rather stick to what you believe, honour God, put God first, and not even enter the race? Hayley, what do you think he did?
I don't know. I mean, for me, you could just change the day that you worship God, because church doesn't have to happen on a Sunday, as long as you get together with people. So you could go and race. But then you're always making that compromise, aren't you? So I have no idea what he did.
Well, that was a compromise that Eric Liddell was not prepared to make.
Wow.
He prayed to God and he said, okay, you know, on a Sunday I put you first all the time, but this is a promise I've made to you. So he withdrew from the race. Everybody told him he was mad, that he really should be going for this gold because he was going to win it, because he was the favourite. And he said no. He said, I put God first. And one of the quotes he said was, because we looked at the parable of the talents, didn't we, right before half term. And as speaking of his talent, of what he saw was God had made him fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure. I love that quote. He looked through the programme and he saw that there was a race that he could enter that didn't have heats on a Sunday, and that was the 400-metre race. And he thought, well, I'm on the boat. I've been selected to represent Scotland and England. It would have been Scotland's first ever gold medal had he won, because he was so fast. He said, I'm not likely to win, but I am going to enter the 400-metre race because I can. In the 100-metre race, it was actually won by another British guy called Abrams. So we did get the gold medal as a nation, but it certainly wasn't Eric Liddell that came home with that medal. But he was average. He wasn't expected to win. He hadn't trained particularly for the 400-metre race, but he thought he would enter. He set off on the race and he did the heats, and something amazing happened. A minor miracle. Guess what?
I don't know.
He got the gold medal.
Wow.
In the 400 metres. The race that everybody had said, you don't have a hope of winning. He was the underdog of the 400 metres, having been the favourite for the 100 metres. He was the total underdog, having not trained properly in a race 4 times as long, because he believed that it was right to put God first, to not race on a Sunday. He came home and was the first Scottish person to win a gold medal at the Olympics in 1924. He was put under quite a lot of pressure to compete in the 100 metres because he was good, really, really good. And they were like, oh, it doesn't matter. You can race on a Sunday, it'll be fine. But for Eric, his number one priority was to put God first. And that's what he was going to do, because his relationship with God was more important to him than winning the gold medal was. And I just love how the fact that he did come home back on the boat from the Paris 24 Olympics with a gold medal anyway, which is just brilliant. So I think when I listened to the Eric Liddell story, there is a film about him called Chariots of Fire, which is brilliant to watch. There is also a book about him. And if you check him out on Wikipedia or any of the search engines, his story comes up. But later in life, putting God first he continued, and he actually, just like Amy Carmichael, went to become a missionary in Japan. And there's a verse in the Bible: love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your mind, and love your neighbour as yourself. And a little bit later in his life, towards the end of his life, he found himself in Japan during World War II. And again, he had another would you rather. And this would you rather was, would you rather be sent home from Japan with your family, or would you rather give your space, your release, to somebody else? That would be a tricky one, because I imagine the vast majority of us would have gone into self-protection mode and been on the plane out of Japan. But he actually, again, put somebody else first. We saw the example of putting God first over a gold medal in the Olympics. But this time he put the health and welfare of a pregnant lady first. And she went home and he stayed in Japan for the rest of his life. Challenging stuff, isn't it? So my challenge for you is, what is your number one priority? For Eric Liddell, it's clear that his number one priority was to love God and put him first, and to love other people and put them first, second, behind God. So what's your number one priority? And how much of a difference does that make to you? Something deep to think about. Because in the Bible, it also says where your heart is, your treasure is also. Hayley, would you like to say a prayer?
Let's do that. So I'm going to say a prayer, and if you agree, just say amen at the end. Which means I agree. Dear Jesus, thank you for Eric Liddell. Thank you for the example that he has shown of putting things first. But Father, we ask for your help to do that. And we ask that whatever our number one priority is, that you help us to put that first, and help us to know when to compromise and when not to compromise. We also ask for your help to discover our talents and to take them as far as we can, even into races that we don't think we're going to win, or situations like that. But we ask for your help with that too. Amen.
Amen. And come back next week to find out about somebody else inspirational. But why not go for a little run and see how fast you can run 100 metres or 400 metres, and then see what Eric Liddell's time was, and see how close you are, and see why he was called the Flying Scotsman, and the truly inspirational story of his life. And we'll see you next week. Bye.